Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaur Jayapataka Swaminiti Namine Namacharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayani Gaurakata Damadaya Nagara Gramatarine Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna and welcome to Rukmini Kalyanam or Rukmini Vivaha, kidnapping of Rukmini. And I'm going to be sharing some pictures. It's going to be a meditative story, lessons from Rukmini Kalyanam. Kundiniya nagaravante bhishmakana kuvariyante Shishupalana vollalante ninage bole baredalante Opu hoguna baru ranga Opu hoguna baru Krishna. So we are talking about the glorious city of Vidarbha, or also known as Kundina. And we are talking about the beautiful daughter of Bhishmaka, who was the emperor of Vidarbha. And this was the young, beautiful daughter of Bhishmaka, who had 5 sons and 1 daughter. And the eldest of his sons was Rukmini, the oldest brother of Rukmini. And Rukmini was the only daughter and the 6th child. And how was she? What kind of characteristics, what qualities, and how did she look? Is described in the scriptures, and our Vaishnav saints also sing beautiful glories. Kamaladangi komalangi sundarabja vadane nino ramana matsya katina kaya sutarasyano ramaniya swarupini no Amita Khora Rupa Navano Nami Parishta Dani Nino Danava Bedu Vavanige Volidayata Kamma Rukmini Vasudevage Volidayata Kamma Rukmini Vasudevage. Rukmini was of unmatched beauty. Her external and internal beauty was never found in the entire universe. She was delicate like the lotus flower, and her character was so pure and so firm and so strong. We usually hear about Rukmini as a mild and soft character, but according to the descriptions, it is given that she was as delicate as a lotus flower, but very, very firm in her character and her values. And she wasn't going to agree to anybody else's wishes about her life and values. So perfection of chastity, that externally we are humbly, we are firm. And this is the contrast between modern day strength and the ancient Vedic civilization values of strength. In Vedic times, women were extremely tolerant on the external, but extremely firm and of strong character internally. And because of their internal values, they were able to tolerate the externals. Today's world is the opposite. women are very irritable, very intolerant on the inside, and externally it comes out as a compensation that we're trying to fight for our rights and being aggressive and being assertive in every activity. So that was the contrast. And it is said that she was so mild and so pleasant, and our acharyas describe that her merciful mood actually comes that acharyas describe that Sita Devi, she came as Rukmini, because when Ravana kidnapped Sita, Sita is the mother of the universe, and she is Bhumija, she is the Mother Earth. So the comparison between Mother Sita and Mother Earth is very relevant in this context in understanding Mother Rukmini as well. What is a mother's nature? Mother's nature is very forgiving. Mother's nature is very tolerant. So the heart of a mother was such that Sita Devi saw Ravana as a gone rogue son. So she actually considered him as a son, and she tried to preach to him, surrender to Lord Ram. Why are you doing this? Why are you going against? Why don't you surrender? And Ravana was not able to, obviously. So Sita Devi came as Rukmini to represent that mood of Atmanivedana, to completely manifest that full surrender. And just like Mother Earth, who gives and gives, Namiparishta Dani Ninu, always in the mood of giving, just like Mother Earth, and yet remaining tolerant and never stopping loving. So this is the quality, right? And we can actually see in the end how Rukmini's mercy and heart of a mother is also shown towards her very evil brother, Rukmini. Then what happens? This description of the acharyas goes as follows. The mother of the universe, Mother Sita, is Rukmini. And to be the father of the mother of the universe, the greatest fortune was that of Bhishmaka. So Bhishmaka became the father of Rukmini Devi, right? And wow, what a great fortune to be the father of somebody who's the mother of the universe. So the acharyas describe very vividly the qualities. I must mention at this point that I'm a huge fan of Vadiraja Tirtha. He's one of our Vaishnava acharyas before the time of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he was walking in the streets of Kashi. I believe it was Kashi, and they were taking a particular scripture, a grantha called Shishupala Vada. Okay, this is the name of that scripture, Shishupala Vada, and which basically means the killing of Shishupala, right? When Shishupala was killed, and or like the whole story, like it's the novel, it's the poetry. So they actually had this scripture in a chariot, and they were taking this scripture all around India in Meravanige. Meravanige basically means procession. So this is the Vedic culture. The Vedic culture was to worship and admire and take on procession scriptures. But our Vadiraja Tirtha, he said, wait a minute, what is this again? They said, this is the best ever poetry written, this is the best ever description about Krishna, and the book is called Shishupala Vada. And our Acharya, being a very pakka, personalist, he didn't like that title very much. And he immediately said, but how do you know this is the best one? Actually, there is this title itself, there's something wrong in it. It sounds very flat. It sounds very impersonal. How can the scripture's name go after the demon? Why Shishupala Vada? Why is it not something directly Krishna? And these scholars highly respected Vadiraja Tirtha and asked, are you recommending that there's another scripture? So if so, please do tell us. We will definitely consider. By the way, there was no such scripture existing until that point. So what Vadiraja Tirtha said, of course, there is a scripture, and it's called Rukmini Vijaya. And so when Vadiraja Tirtha declared that Rukmini Vijaya is the scripture that it is even better than this Shishupala Vada literature. And they said, oh, really? Let us have it so we can compare between the Shishupala Vada and Rukmini Vijaya and determine which of the scriptures needs to go on procession. And Vadiraja Tirtha said, yeah, sure, but I need 19 days to get it from where it is. It is in the other side of the country. And then the scholars said, oh, sure, by all means, take 19 days. So in that those 19 days, Vadiraja Tirtha sat down and wrote Rukmini Vijaya. And it's an amazing piece of literature. Usually when scriptures are written, they are prose and they are very intricate philosophical details, etc. But the speciality of Rukmini Vijaya is that the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam, the essence of the qualities and the glories and the nature of Krishna is vividly described in Rukmini Vijaya. Of course, this is the core of the whole story, is about the kidnapping of Rukmini. That's how he became Rukminisha, which is Krishna, right? The Lord of Rukmini is Rukminisha Vijaya, the victory of Rukminisha. So this scripture did win the hearts of all the scholars, and everybody unanimously agreed that this should be the scripture which should be taken on procession. And for those of you interested, I would like to tell you more about that scripture. There are amazing things about it. But let's come back to our storyline of our little princess, Rukmini. It is described that she was very young. It's not like what we see in Mahabharata teleserials or movies that she was like 25 years old or something. She was very, very young. Okay, like I don't even want to say how young, because you're going to be like shocked. Was it that young? And so she was very delicate. She used to hear from the sages such as Narada and other visiting saints about Lord Krishna. And especially she would hear about the childhood pastimes of Krishna. And she was very enamored. And yeah, she heard about him plenty. She had never seen him. So Achyutam Keshavam Krishna Damodaram Ramanarayanam Janaki Vallabham. So she used to constantly meditate on the holy names, on the glories of Krishna. And what was she attracted to? Okay, this is very important for ladies. Whether you're married or not yet married, you're looking for a husband, it's important to understand what was Rukmini Devi's criteria for a good husband. Usually we are into, oh, is he wealthy? Does he earn enough money? Can he maintain me? But you know what? Money can be lost in a second, right? Ma kuru dhana jana yauvan garvam harati nimesha kala sarvam ayamayamidam akhilam hitva. This is Bhajagovindam's song where it says, Ma kuru dhana jana yauvana garvam. Basically, wealth, which we look for. Oh, does the guy have money? Beauty, which again will be lost in any second. Property can be lost. Money can be lost. And old age can take away our youthful looks. I remember one couple, like one Prabhu wanted to marry this girl because she was really pretty. And I was telling him, please don't just go for that. Try to appreciate her for her qualities. But he was so like adamant, right? That's what he wanted. And she was like, no, but he is such a wealthy guy. I want to marry him. And he likes me, how I look. Unfortunately, on the next day of their marriage, there was a fire accident in their home. And the fire, she's an amazing devotee, and she wanted to protect the deities. So she took the deities. So she went to actually save the deities. And during the time that she took the deities, her face got burnt. Unfortunately, the couple, they're not together anymore. But it did teach me a lesson that whenever we are trying to establish a relationship, especially a sacred bond like marriage, based on looks, based on wealth, which are all temporary, and harati nimesha kala sarvam, time can take away everything in a second. We need to be careful. The quality of Krishna there's so many qualities, right? Krishna is like Nava Yauvanam, he's eternally youthful. Is that what attracted Rukmini? The Acharya says no. And he is, he has all wealth, all renunciation, all strength, all beauty. He has all the opulences, all 6 opulences. Is that what attracted her? The Acharya says no, it's not what attracted her. What is it? What was the quality that captured Rukmini's heart? So, this shloka reveals who is this personality and what qualities mirror his heart. Vishnum Jishnum Mahavishnum Prabhavishnum Maheshwaram Aneka Rupa Daityantam Namami Purushottamam. This is Purushottam month, and we are glorifying our Lord Purushottama. And he is Vishnum Jishnum Mahavishnum Prabhavishnum Maheshwaram. He is the Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He is the creator of the universe. He is the maintainer of the universe. And he can take different forms in a jiffy, literally like in a jiffy, and kill these demons. And the Namami Purushottamam, this is such a perfection of everybody please mute yourselves. So please don't unmute yourself if until we have come to the point of questions and comments. Okay, so it says that this Purushottama, who has the power to access any of his opulences and get rid of any of the most powerful demons the history has ever known, has one quality which is unmatched, even with devatas and humans and rakshasas. Nobody has that quality. And what is that quality? This is Rukmini Devi's favorite quality of Krishna, since she heard about him. Krishna overlooks faults and accepts the devotion. To that Lord I want to belong. This is Rukmini Devi's prayer. So let us all meditate on this. I will repeat this 2 more times for us to digest this and accept this as our prayer too. The Lord Purushottama, Lord Shri Krishna, who overlooks faults and accepts devotion. To that Lord I want to belong. To Lord Shri Krishna, who overlooks faults and accepts devotion. To that Lord I want to belong. So this is Mother Rukmini's strong determination. She was very fixed on this idea. Even if she was very gentle like a lotus, she was fixed on this point and the quality of Krishna. She did not want to marry a man who is just a bag of bones. She writes that to Krishna. I don't want to marry a bag of bones. Why? She says, you are that Purushottama. Oh my God, I really enjoyed studying about this. I hope I'll do justice in revealing to you these points, why this quality was very important for her and the story connected to it. Krishna has the capacity to accept your intention and your motivation, even if your action is wrong. Okay. For example, Vidura's wife, she offered Krishna banana peel and she was throwing away banana because she was in ecstasy, and Krishna accepted the banana peel because he accepted the intention of her devotion. Okay. The fault was she was giving him banana peel, but he actually accepted her bhakti. And the greatest example our acharyas give is Shabari. And by the way, she's Mother Sita, right? Rukmini is Mother Sita. So what happens is when she remembers, and she's describing that when Shabari was waiting for Lord Ram in the forest, every single day she will say, Lord Ram will come and I will sit here and I will invite him here and I will offer him these kinds of flowers and I will say these words and I'll worship him in this way and I will do artik in this way and I will look at him in this way. I will give him the best of the fruits from the forest and I will make him sit exactly on this particular material where it's going to be so soft and I will worship his lotus feet with fragrant flowers. She would constantly, continuously meditate on what she's going to do, what she's going to say when Lord Ram arrives. You know what happens when Lord Ram arrives? She completely forgets everything. She forgets where to make Lord Ram sit. She forgets what to say. She forgets to offer the incense. She forgets to offer the lamp. She literally forgets everything. And she just starts crying. By the way, tears is a very important part of the story of Rukmini. So in Rukmini Shivijaya, it comes about the tears also. So she starts crying. When Lord Ram comes, she starts crying. And the only best possible effort she could do was to make sure that she tastes the fruit, to make sure it's sweet, and gives it to Lord Ram. And Lord Ram, with great joy, and he cherishes this bhakti, and he accepts that fruit. And it is explained how those tears was the worship that Lord Ram accepted and admired and glorified the most. So the point, we usually think of the fruit, right? We think, oh, she tasted it, it's muchi, and how did he eat it? But our acharyas describe that what he actually accepted is her worship in the form of tears. And it is described in our Gaudiya Vaishnava literature, Rupa Goswami. Our Goswami's culture of humility is such that Krishna is not after your perfect pujas. He's not after you, how many times you turn your lamp, or how many times you did the incense, and I did the best puja today, Oh, my recipe came out perfect, That's when Krishna doesn't accept. We have discussed this in our Krishna connection meetings also, that what Krishna actually loves. He actually loves those tears where we say, Krishna, I am useless. What I did is really a disaster, And when we cry, and those tears is what he wants. And it is said by our Purandara Dasa that Kshira Tishayana Hariye Ninage Bekaiteno Gokulada Benne ಸಾಕಾಗಲಿಲ್ಲವೇ ಹಾಲ್ಮೊಸರ ಕಡಲೆ ನಾಟಕ ಏತಕೆ ನಿನಗೆ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಕ್ಷೀರಾಬ್ಧಿ ಶಯನ. Krishna lies on the ocean of milk. He owns the ocean of milk. He owns the ocean of yogurt. He owns the ocean of butter. And yet he comes as a little boy in Gokula to steal the butter in the house of the gopis. So the point is, what is that butter? So the butter is when our hearts are churned, and when we come to that point of helplessness, when we come to that point of desperation of needing Krishna and nothing else, everything else becomes a detail, and our emotions for Krishna becomes the priority. So Rukmini Devi's point is, to that Lord who forgets the rules and delivers through the lens of love, I want to belong. Krishna, who forgets the rules and delivers those through lens of love, to that Lord I want to belong. And again, as I said, there are two kinds of deliverance that happens. One kind is when our intention are in the right place, like in case of Shabari, in case of Vidura's wife, in case of Govinda, the assistant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Their intentions were right, and their actions were apparently wrong. And what does Krishna do? He takes our intention and ignores our actions. And then the second type, it is said that Krishna has the ability to accept our action. If our action is right and our intention is not pure, he is able and capable to receive the action and ignore the intention. And the example given is Putana. So Putana's intention was very bad. She wanted to kill Krishna. She wanted to poison him, right? But her actions were that of feeding the kid with her own breast milk. And Krishna became pleased with that action. So to that Lord I want to belong. So Rukmini Devi's point is that his qualities are Purushottama, right? He is the Aneka Rupa Daityantam. He is the Vishnum Jishnum Mahavishnu, and he is the Purushottama. Yet he can overlook faults, yet he can focus on the devotion, and yet he can actually forget the rules and deliver the people through the lens of love. And to that Lord I want to give my heart. Okay, now coming back to our story, what happens with Rukmini is that she is completely convinced that Krishna should be her Lord and Master. And she goes to Bhishmaka, who is also a devotee, and she says, I want to marry Krishna. Bhishmaka is very overjoyed. He's very happy about it. But you see, in those times, kings didn't have a personal life. There's nothing like private lives, okay? Everything is public. You can't just secretly say, oh, I like this brahmachari, I like this Prabhu, he sings so nicely, and you only tell one friend. There was no such scenes there. You like somebody, everybody knows in the kingdom. So Bhishmaka immediately calls an assembly. He calls all the brothers and all the family members. They sit them down, and then he says, our little Rukmini has come to a marriageable age, and she is interested to marry Krishna. And they both are very beautiful looking young people, and why don't we get them married, right? Bhishmaka again is a devotee, and he knows the heart of Rukmini Devi. So he wants the best for Rukmini, and he knows her heart. So then there's a whole description going on about Krishna and Rukmini, and everybody's like, oh, this sounds like a good idea. But of course, in a romantic story like this, if everything goes according to the plan, there's no fun, right? So there has to be an enemy, there has to be opposition, there has to be a fight, there has to be a conflict. Only then do we actually enjoy, and there is the whole rasa coming out. So then Rukmi, the oldest brother, says, no way, we are not giving our Rukmini to this Gopalan. This Gopalan is such a rascal. He is always playing on flute and attracting girls, and that fellow cannot even stand straight. He's always standing, in Tribangi form. He can't even stand straight. No way. He's always going out with cows and cow herding. And no, we don't want Rukmini to be given to this Gopalan. You can keep the pala, but remove the go. Please, go goes out. Palan will remain, but not Gopalan. Shishupalan will get Shishupalan married to Rukmini, not Gopalan. This Gopalan is a bad guy. And, whether it's Mahabharata, whether it's Bhagavad Gita, Duryodhana blabbering, or in this case, Rukmi blabbering, or Shishupala blabbering, these demons, whatever they say, it has a double meaning, right? When Rukmi starts insulting Krishna, basically the literal translation of that is this: Venum Kwanantam Aravinda Dalayataksham Varhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpa Kotika Maniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Alola Chandraka Lasadva Navalya Vamshi Ratnangadak Pranayakeli Kalavilasam Shamam Tribangalalita Niyata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So although Rukmi was appearing to be insulting Krishna, he was continuously glorifying Krishna. He even told Bhishmaka, how can a person learn 64 arts in one day? This fellow Gopalan, it seems he went and he learned 64 arts in one day, it seems. How is this even possible? What's the name of Krishna's guru?
Sandipani Muni.
Thank you, Sandipani Muni, right? So my question is like, forget about Krishna learning 64 arts from Sandipani Muni, okay? Which teacher will know 64 arts to teach a kid? Krishna learning 64 arts in one day is believable. Even before going to Sandipani Muni, he had already danced on the heads of Kaliya like superbly. And it was a dance that the universe had never ever even witnessed, or unimaginable, fantastic, phantasmagoria that ever happened. So he was already an expert, right? But imagine Sandipani Muni. I mean, some of you have children and you send your, you have your English teacher for your kid, and then you have your math teacher, right? Your dance is another teacher, music is another teacher, harmonium is another teacher, mridanga is another teacher, right? You have so many teachers. But imagine one teacher knowing 64 arts. It's incredible. It's tremendous. That's Vedic culture. So you can send your child to one teacher and they can teach all 64 arts. Today, though, the time is gone. Even 4 arts are not even remaining. Everybody is learning the same thing, engineering, medicine, MBA, and all the other arts are gone. We are making all these kids become like sheeps, following in the same thing, and we are losing personality. There's no value for culture. There is no value for what it means to have all these knowledge of the arts, right? Everything has become redundant and everything has become so superficial. So Rukmini is saying, we are not giving Rukmini, our dear Rukmini, to this fellow Krishna. He is so tricky. He's a very strange guy. So Shishupala was a bad guy, okay? Really bad guy. But he was a very close friend of Rukmini. So he wanted Shishupala to marry Rukmini because he hated Krishna so much. So in all the Krishna stories, it's not that only devotees were talking about Krishna all the time. Even these demons will get together. Jarasandha, Shishupala, Rukmini, they'll all get together. They can't talk about anything else. They'll talk about Krishna only. They'll keep talking about Krishna intensely. He did that, and he wears this peacock feather and he does that. So they were always anxiously talking about Krishna. So the meeting concluded, no Gopalan, only Shishupalan. The meeting concluded. Next day, in 24 hours, Rukmini's marriage was announced. Invitation letters were sent to every nook and corner of the country. All the kings were invited. And why there is no Swayamvara? Why can't Rukmini choose? Because of this evil Rukmi, right? Later on, we will see that our acharyas describe that he was very envious. He even curses Rukmini. He was very envious character. So Rukmini becomes sad, and then Bhishmaka says, don't worry. Rukmini says, but tomorrow is my wedding. Bhishmaka says, you have 1 day, and 1 day for Krishna, what all he can do, it's unimaginable. So don't worry. So this is the faith of a devotee. We don't worry. Oh, there's only 20 days. Oh, there's only 1 year. We don't worry, because for Krishna, there's nothing impossible. In Hindi, there's a proverb, Bhagwan ke ghar mein der hai, par andher nahi. So according to our timing, we may think why Ram didn't immediately fly to Lanka and get Sita, why he didn't release Sita immediately, why he had to go through all this, why he had to wait, why Krishna didn't get justice to the Pandavas like this, just kick out the Kauravas and just get him the kingdom, why Krishna made Pandavas wait and go on the exile for 12 years and all this drama, because Krishna's timing is different from our timing. So 1 full day is there, my dear Rukmini, don't worry, says Bhishmaka. So there is a Brahmana. Here comes the core of the story of connections. So Vadiraja Tirtha, one who wrote Rukminisha Vijaya, is the very same person who actually takes Rukmini's letter to Krishna. So he's the incarnation, the Brahmana who took Rukmini's letter to Krishna in the story of Mahabharata is the same personality who later on appeared as Vadiraja Tirtha. So it's an extraordinary service to do, right? And in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, there is a devotee called Vanamali. He was a matchmaker. He got Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Vishnu Priya married. And it is said that it's the same personality who is the Brahmana from who took the letter of Rukmini to Krishna. So see, devotees keep coming again and again to assist the Lord in his pastimes. So Rukmini Devi immediately started writing a letter to Krishna with all her devotion and her intensity, and very intelligent, very wise letter she wrote to Krishna, expressing why she admires him. And she writes like a kshatrani, okay? She's not like saying, I will come secretly, you come secretly, and we'll run away. That's not what Rukmini wrote. Maybe if she wrote like that, Krishna would say, but she wrote, please come like a lion and take me away from these jackals. She wanted Krishna to come there in front of everybody, fight them and kidnap her and take her on the chariot. That was Rukmini's desire. And when she washes the feet of the Brahmana, and she's crying, right? The Brahmana is like, why is this water so hot? And Rukmini is crying and her tears are so warm. And so therefore the hot water is washing Brahmana's feet. And so he understands the intensity of Krishna's desire for Rukmini. And it is expressed how that pure voluntary surrender of a devotee is expressed in full by Rukmini Devi. Full Sharanagati and full 100% Atmanivedana. So all these three things are demonstrated with Rukmini Devi's character. Full Sharanagati, Atmanivedana 100%, and voluntary pure surrender. All these three are represented by Rukmini Devi's character. And with those tears, the Brahmana understood her emotions and he immediately hurried to Dwaraka with the letter. So in that letter, Rukmini had confessed the love that she had. Bhuvana Sundara. Oh my God, we can write a whole book about what Bhuvana Sundara means. Bhuvana means also the ocean. So the one who is the Lord of ocean, the one who is lying down in the Kshira Sagara is Bhuvana Sundara. And also means he's the most handsome in the entire universe. Bhumandala, right? So therefore he is the Bhuvana Sundara. And he is the master of all kinds of living entities, and therefore he is the Bhuvana Sundara. So she several times wrote Bhuvana Sundara, and the acharyas give tremendous deep meanings, several meanings to that word Bhuvana Sundara. And she also expressed how she has surrendered to his divine nature. So Rukmini expresses how she's fixed on her desire and she has surrendered herself to his divine nature. And that's a Kshatriya way of expressing surrender, and at the same time asking him to come and kidnap her like a lion, to take her away from these jackals. And there is that beautiful song, Popu ho gona baro ranga, Popu ho gona baro Krishna, Popu ho gona baro ranga. And in that it comes, Shishupalana vollalante, ninage vole baredalante, Popu ho gona baro ranga, Popu ho gona baro Krishna. Kundiniya nagaravante, Bhishmakana kuvariyante, Shishupalana vollalante, ninage vole baredalante. She doesn't want to marry a bag of bones. She wants to marry the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So she's inviting, please come, please take me away. This should be our prayer. Whatever life circumstances we are in, we ask Krishna to come and take our heart. Just like he came and stole the butter in the houses of the gopis to come and churn our heart, to do the samudra mathana, to do the churning of the ocean. Churning of the ocean represents for us, let me see if I remember that analogy correctly. The samudra represents, the ocean represents Krishna's qualities, Krishna's leelas, Krishna's names, okay? And the mountain is represented by the scriptures, Srimad Bhagavatam, the Upanishads, the Vedic scriptures. So we are supposed to do, and the snake is represented our senses. So we actually regularly do Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. We actually do the Samudra Mathana, we do the churning of the ocean, the churning of the glories of the Lord, the holy names of the Lord. With the help of the scriptures and the association of devotees, we engage our senses and we churn. So this churning is essential for our devotional process. So Krishna gets that letter. Brahmana explains how much Rukmini is eager to have Krishna come. And of course, there comes Krishna. ರಾಜಬೀದಿಯೊಳಗಿನಿಂದ ಕಸ್ತೂರಿ ರಂಗತೇರನೇರಿ ಮೆರೆದು ಬಂದ. ರಾಜಬೀದಿಯೊಳಗಿನಿಂದ ಕಸ್ತೂರಿ ರಂಗತೇರನೇರಿ ಮೆರೆದು ಬಂದ. It is said that when Rukmini Devi saw Krishna, she was actually adjusting her left side of the bangle, and then she saw Krishna, and in a second, Krishna immediately jumped out of the chariot. He took Rukmini Devi and he put her on the chariot, and just like she had described, like a lion who came and captured the deer from the hands of the jackals, Krishna puts her on the chariot. There is a verse, I need to look at my notes to refer to that. So it was such an amazing scene where the all attractive Supreme Personality of Godhead, he accepts Rukmini Devi. Popu ho gona baro ranga, popu ho gona baro Krishna. Okay, this is a song, this is a shloka, how Krishna took her and defeated all these enemies standing there. And in fact, it is said that Jarasandha was watching this, and he was so amazed by the way Krishna was fighting all these Kshatriyas, and then the way he just took Rukmini, he just became like stunned. Takshana Rakshana Vishwavilakshana Dharma Vichakshana Godari Kalisine Mira Dhanda Ninadam Mula Jandamu Ninna Bhasma Vedam Mula. I am not 100. I haven't learned this verse exactly, but this is the way that the Lord destroys the demons and establishes dharma, and he has this beautiful way of doing it, just like Taruni Radha spoke about in Kaliya Mardana, how when Krishna was dancing on Kaliya, there are so many deeper meanings. Similarly, in Krishna capturing Rukmini and taking her and saving her, had many amazing, creative, poetic, chivalrous, adventurous, aggressive like a lion, defeating the other animals. There's like a whole array of emotions involved in this pastime. Then let me show you this. And see, Rukmini had never seen Krishna. This was the first time Rukmini sees Krishna, but she immediately identifies him because she's been listening about Krishna so much that she immediately could identify that this is Krishna. She immediately goes on the chariot, holds Krishna's hands, and then everybody, all Jarasandha and all the Rukmi and all other people get really annoyed, and they run behind the chariot, and Krishna is going ahead. He's running also. I mean, all these demons are running behind, and they are all getting defeated like anything by Krishna. And then we come to the point where Rukmini, he doesn't give up. He's so envious, right? He comes to the point of attacking Krishna and Rukmini begs Krishna to release him and to not kill him. And it is said that Rukmini's only hope was Rukmini Devi, the sister's mercy. Again, like a Mother Earth, like Mother Sita mode, teaching her children how to be surrendered. She immediately requests Krishna to teach him a lesson, but don't kill him. And it's a huge insult for a Kshatriya to be shaved off like that and tied to the tree. But it said that he was so envious, so it was very difficult to correct him. So some demons are like that. They don't even deserve to be killed by Krishna. Sometimes they're so envious that it becomes difficult for them to get liberated or delivered. And the only hope is the devotee's mercy, like that. But Krishna is very kind, and he's always delivering everybody who takes shelter of him. So some demons, though, they never take shelter. So Rukmi was one of those. And since then, Krishna's name became Rukmiha, the one who destroyed Rukmi's pride. And yeah, Rukmi had his own character defects that he never wanted to fix. Now, this is Panduranga and Rukmini Devi. You can see in Maharashtra, there is Pandharpur. And in Pandharpur, you can actually go and touch the lotus feet of Panduranga Vithala. It's a very special place where you can actually go and put your head on his feet. And the story goes as follows. There was Vithoba, a devotee of Rukmini and Krishna, who used to worship the Lord, but he was also serving his aged parents. So one day, the Lord appears at the door and calls him. And the devotee is so busy serving the parents, he throws a brick and says, please wait on this Krishna, I am doing my duty here. And then immediately Rukmini Devi also arrives and he throws another brick. So it is said that both Rukmini and Krishna waited like that. You can see them holding their hands on their hips. This is to balance themselves to be able to stand on the brick. And of course, they remain there as deities, as a self-manifested deity of Krishna and Rukmini Devi, which you can go to see in Pandharpura. This is the original deity, the picture of the original deity, Vithala and Rukmini. Very cute, very, 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 very merciful. This is Pandharpura, I think. Yeah, these pictures. Yeah, this is Pandharpur. And this is again Rukmini and Rukmi being delivered, and Krishna getting married to Mother Rukmini. Mangalam Bhagavan Vishnu Mangalam Garudadvaja Mangalam Pundari Kaksha Mangalayo Tanno Hari Mangalam 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 Mangalam. So whoever hears attentively and with faith this pastime of Rukmini and Krishna will derive great pleasure and will attain bhakti and atmanivedana, and to be able to perform a devotional service in a manner that is pleasing to Krishna and bring all auspiciousness, both material and spiritual. So Rukmini Panduranga Vithala ki jai. Okay, these are some other pictures I had. This is Mother Sita going inside Mother Earth. She came from Bhumi and she's called Bhumija because she was born from Bhumi. She wasn't born like an ordinary human being. She came from Mother Earth. And when she left also, she left inside Mother Earth. This is Lord Ram and Sita. So that's the presentation today. And this is also Rukmini, Krishna tying Rukmini Devi's hair. There is one in Udupi, the Krishna, Udupi Krishna is actually a present by Narada Muni to Rukmini Devi because she really wanted to see Krishna's childhood form. So Narada Muni gave that little Krishna deity to Rukmini Devi. This is in Dwapara Yuga. Then during the time of inundation, the deity went in the ocean. And then later on, Madhvacharya found that deity. So that deity is 5,000 years old and it's worshipped by Rukmini Devi in Udupi. Okay, so that's the presentation. Any of you want to share some comments, questions? Thank you for joining today. And yeah, please unmute yourself and you can turn on your video if you like, so you can connect with me more personally. Mangalam.
It was very devotionally uplifting as always, and thank you very much for taking your time to share it. It's so beautifully, and we didn't know the Rukmini Vijaya Desha, right? And Shishupala, that was all new to me, and it was very nice. I wish I hear more about that scripture. Very nicely explained. Thank you. I really like the one deep lesson I try to reflect from Rukmini is like how easily we can connect to Krishna through hearing, simply by hearing. And yeah, I can experience it as I read Gita and hear about. I am experiencing that hearing Gita from my Shri Shiksha Gurus. It actually brought me to that platform of liking Krishna and connecting to Krishna and knowing him as Kavi, as Purana, as oldest, and all those qualities. Like it's just like knowing a person in person like that. Yeah, thank you, Hare Krishna.
Absolutely. So true. Shravanam, right? The first devotional anga. By hearing itself, we can develop. And actually hearing Shravanam is included in every other 9 processes. Because when there's Kirtanam, there is also Shravanam, right? So there's always Shravanam involved. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your encouragement.
Hare Krishna, I loved all the songs that you were singing. It was so beautiful. And the way, the point that I really liked is like how Rukmini was like asking the way she wrote, like you said, like a Shatrani saying that you come in front of everybody and take me away from a pack of wolves. Come like a lion. So this is how she was just envisioning. That's exactly how Krishna reciprocated. Reciprocation of Krishna is also very sweet in this pastime, and the devotion that Rukmini had. Even till the last minute, Krishna was testing her to see whether she'll change because I've not come, but she did not. And then that is the kind of surrender that we devotees need to have till that last minute, that last breath, that very last breath. I know faith in Krishna, trust in Krishna that he will, he'll come, he will not leave us or, abandon us. So that was so beautiful. The way you explained the songs were like absolutely so sweet. Thank you. Thank you so much. Love it.
Thank you. There's also a description that later when Krishna left Vrindavan, and the gopis, Vishaka Devi, she jumped off the mountain, and Radha drowned herself in the Yamuna, right? I mean, these are all very high level confidential thing, but it is described that they later on entered the bodies of Rukmini and Satyabhama, like that. So very, very special devotees continue to. What I really appreciate was that Rukmini's contrast of quality, that she's very gentle, she's very delicate, but yet very firm in her internally. Like externally very delicate, very soft, but internally very strong in her decision and ability to be attached to Krishna. I like that kind of contrast, because modern day it's like if you're tough, if you're tough inside, you have to be tough outside, there's that thing. But in Rukmini, you can see that very gentle, very delicate person. Yet, internally she was so strong, yes, so young. And she was like, I will marry Krishna only. And she wrote Krishna the letter. I like that contrast. It's not mutually exclusive, Usually the demons are the ones who are extremely overconfident on the external, and internally they're insecure. And the saintly, they're usually externally very mild and delicate and sweet, and internally they are very, very secure because of faith. And the Rukmini represents that security, that Krishna has a plan, 24 hours, what all Krishna can do, Any other questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, very nice lecture. Yes, I really like the singing too. And a lot of things you mentioned that I wasn't aware of it, but it's some things I knew, but listening to it again in a lot of details in the background was really helpful. Is this session recorded that we wanted to hear it again? Is this going to be on your YouTube, Sri Radha?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So you mentioned about and when Krishna was leaving Vrindavan and all the gopis and Radharani jumped into the Yamuna to drown herself. And where is this references? From which book is it? I know you said it's very confidential.
I can't remember. I will look and come back to you. Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
It's very nice. Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful lecture.
I think it's Rupa Goswami's text, right, Mataji? Vedanta Madhava. Vedanta Madhava.
Oh, Lalita Madhava.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah. Definitely one of them, Rupa Goswami's. Because when we went to Dwaraka, right, our Guru Maharaj was referencing exactly what you were saying, like how they drowned, and then there's a place in Dwaraka called Navavrindavan, where actually Krishna comes and meets them, and then there's the kind of like union between the gopis and Krishna. It's not like Krishna never sees them till 100 years like that. That doesn't happen. The place is there now. So that's when he was explaining about this. That's really beautiful. And exactly what you said, Maharaj had mentioned that it's very confidential pastimes. And even to hear that, we need to have a lot of qualification.
I mean, why I mentioned is, sometimes we ask Rukmini, why, Radha is more, we worship Radharani, we have Radharani deities everywhere, but we do have Rukmini Dwarkadish, Srila Prabhupada did establish. I'll show you the picture right now. I can just send you. So why I mentioned that is to say how worshipable and cherished and these personalities are, that even the gopis, they cannot be separated from Krishna. They were with Krishna in the form of Rukmini and Satyabhama. They merged into them. That's the reason why I mentioned that. Okay, I'm showing you it's Rukmini Dwarkadish. Srila Prabhupada installed these deities. Dwarka. See, so beautiful. So yeah, one point here I want to mention is that the relationship between Krishna and Rukmini and the relationship with Krishna and the gopis, both are Madhurya Rasa. The mellow is of conjugal relationship, but the relationship between Rukmini and Krishna is Swakiya Madhurya Rasa, which is marital, in relation with marital, and the gopis and Krishna is Parakiya. So although both are very much Madhurya Rasa, one is Swakiya and one is Parakiya. So there is slight differences, and we as Rupa Goswami followers, Rupa Anugas we are, Prabhupada Anugas we are worshippers of Srimati Radharani. We like Krishna because Radharani likes Krishna. Okay, so we follow that line, and so we are worshippers of Radha. We are Gaudiyas. Gaudiyas means we are worshippers of Sri Radharani. Like that. So that if anybody had that question about the difference between Rukmini and Radha and the rasa, is the same rasa as Madhurya Rasa, but one is Swakiya and one is Parakiya.
Hare Krishna Mataji, very nice class, very nectarian. We have to hear again. I am driving, but a couple points that resonated and I'm inspired. One of the lessons that Krishna overlooks our faults and accepts our devotion. That's very inspiring. And also, I like the point where you said with Gopal, you can the pal, but just go. It's very funny, but very very nectarian, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's the mind of Rukmi. Go Palan, no go, but we want the Palan. We keep the Palan, we remove the go, and we keep Shishu Palan. I mean, sometimes our mind is like that. We want Krishna's army, but we don't want Krishna, We don't want the lessons we need to learn. We just want his opulence, right? Something like that. Yeah, actually, Rukmini prayer, that's actually my favorite point of this whole talk is about Rukmini recognizing that Krishna, although he is Purushottama, although he is Anekarupa Daityantam, he can overlook faults. I mean, we as humans, even though we are filled with faults, it's so hard for us to forgive. We're so good at fault finding in others. But Krishna being such a perfect Purnamada, Purnamidam, he's so perfect. And therefore he doesn't even count the faults. In fact, in Vishnu Sahasranam, it says he wears the garland of the faults of the devotees. That's him. And that point that Rama accepted the tears as the worship. Krishna doesn't accept when we say, hey, I did such nice puja, you see, I gave nice class, you see, I cooked so nicely. Then Krishna disappears. Rukmini, you gave that talk, na? And you were speaking about when the gopis became proud, Krishna disappeared, right?
Yes, exactly.
Exactly the same point here. The principle is not us doing it perfectly. The us crying, the tears is what he wants. He wants to steal that butter and churn our heart. So much to meditate, actually. So much introspection is needed. Oh yeah, I didn't say one of this bhajan I was supposed to say. I forgot. I skipped this page. Dasharati Karuna Payonidhi. This is the quality of Krishna, to be able to overlook faults, and to accept the devotion. This is Dasharati Karuna Payonidhi. Sita Rama Swami. This is about Rama especially. Rama Rasaramya Dhama Ramaniya Nama Raghuvamsha Soma Ranaranga Bhima Rakshasa Virama Kamani Kama Saundarya Sima Niradha Shama Nijabhujodham Bhojana Lalama Bhuvana Jayaram Pahi Bhadradri Rama Pahi. This is a verse written by Bhadrachala Ramadasa. And he describes that quality of Lord Ram, Karuna Payonidhi. And he's all that I just read is like descriptions of his sweet qualities. And there's no limit to his mercy. And there is no limit to his acceptance. And the truth. And I don't remember every single word meaning, but to take shelter of that Lord who can overlook our faults and accept the devotion, to take shelter of that Lord who can deliver those through the lens of love and forget the rules. And I mean, these when we connect to the Acharya's words and songs, it brings up the emotions, you know. By the way, my mom has joined also today, so Amma Hare Krishna, Kedeskondya. She's again, she's busy maybe. Karuna Payonidhi. Aha, so beautiful, no? And that the whole Shabari and everything comes.